Poker tonight at 10, exclusively on Challenge.
It's Bruce's Play Your Cards Right in 30 minutes, followed by classic Who Wants to Be a Millionaire at 9. But first here on Challenge, it's Blockbusters.
And now, here's the host of Blockbusters, Bob Holness.
Thank you very much indeed, and welcome to the programme. Someone who felt cheated because he only appeared right at the end of the last show and then disappeared from view is our single player. You may have even forgotten who it is. We'll never forget you again, Richard Winson. Welcome to the show from Exmouth Community College.
Thank you very much.
Says on the card, your hair is your greatest asset.
I didn't say that.
What that means, I don't know at all.
I didn't say that, I don't think.
You didn't know, but other people do, you know.
Right.
Yes. Has it ever been longer than that, Richard?
No,
It
it's
has
the longest.
Good. And playing alongside Diane and Chris. Diane reprimanded me in the last show for calling her something other than Chung. Is it Chung, is it?
Chung.
Chung, that's right, fine. You work part-time in your parents' shop?
That's
what
right.
sort of shop?
It's a Chinese curry. Hi, Mum and Dad.
I see, right. And Chris, sitting next to you, of course, it's Chris Hoffland. You could both come from Beath High School, Cowden Beath, OK? Right, that's filled in the gaps. They didn't actually, we left you so quickly last time, didn't actually get a chance to shake hands. So let's welcome each other to this set of games, which should tell you, if you're astute enough to follow what I'm saying, that we are about to begin the first game in the set of three. Now, the board is sitting there yawning and flashing W at me, as it has been for ages. So let's obey the rules, shall we? Let's play Blockbusters. Right, here we go now with the first question. A very short one, this. See who can get it first. What W means to squirm in agony? Richard.
Writhe.
Writhe, right. Well done, yes. You've made your mark already, haven't you?
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Now, have a choice of letter.
I'd like an E, please, Bob.
You'd like an E, OK? That's at the top right, and it's this question. What E is the study concerning the relationship of man to his work and working environment? Yes, Chris?
Ergonomics.
It is ergonomics. Very well answered. Good. So, that's one of each colour, and Chris has the choice.
Can I have the T, please?
The T. Hey! Now, they're all looking at each other because they've forgotten what that noise means. We remember, don't we, that it's a school prize coming up. Now, they are magnificent school prizes in this particular series, so the one who answers this correctly gets a prize for the school. So, T it is, and this is the question. Stand by the buttons. What T goes after radio, chemo, and physio for 3 ways of... That's Diane.
Therapy.
Therapy's right. Well done. And that means, as I promised, a prize for the school, so well done. Have a look at this.
You have won for your school this satellite dish and receiver. Nothing out of the ordinary about this, you may think, but look carefully. This is no ordinary dish. It's capable of receiving 90 channels and will allow your modern languages department to help you brush up on your Egyptian, your Turkish, Greek, as well as French, Spanish and German. And it comes with a built-in timer to enable you to record different channels right around the clock.
Oh, Beath High School are going to be very pleased with you when you go back. Meanwhile, let's get on, shall we? Super prize. What do you want for the next letter?
Can I have an R, please, Bob?
R, OK. What R does the amoeba do by binary fission? Yes, Chris?
Reproduce.
Reproduce, exactly right. Right, the rest of the question, mammals by the fusion of 2 gametes. Right, reproduce was the answer. We have 3 blues, 1 white, and Chris has the choice.
C, please.
The C. Stand by, Richard. What C is an article of women's clothing which is also the French... Yes, Chris?
Corset.
No, not corset. Gurgles from the audience, I know if not why. Richard, what C is an article of women's clothing which is also the French word for breeches?
Culotte.
Culottes is right. Well answered, yes. Good. I think he was a little surprised he got that, but he did get it. Now have another letter.
I'd like an O, please.
Right down the bottom, OK. What O were Granby, Desert Shield and Desert Storm? Yes, Richard?
Operations.
Operations in the Gulf War. Correct. Had to even things up. 3 whites and 3 blues, and you have the choice.
I'd like a P, please, Bob.
A P, right. So you shall have. What P protects the joint where the femur, tibia and fibula meet? Yes, Chris?
Pelvis.
No. Oh, no. You'd be a funny shape if it was. Richard, what P protects the joint where the femur, tibia and fibula meet? Quite simply, the kneecap, which is the patella. Oh. The patella. See what I mean by pelvis? Right. What P is a relationship as expressed by a ratio? Chris?
Percentage.
No, it's not. Richard, do you know what P is a relationship as expressed by a ratio? Not a percentage, but a proportion. It's a proportion. What P is the name of the dance group which supports MC Hammer, or... Yes, Diane?
Posse.
Posse is right. Well done. I was going to add, or a group of mounted lawmen. Posse was the answer. And, yes, blues are slightly ahead, and you have the choice.
Can I have an F, please?
All right. F it is. What F is an expletive, which is another way of saying violin bows? Richard?
Flip.
No, no. Diane and Chris, no conferring. What F is an expletive, which is another way of saying violin bows? Yes, Chris?
Fiddle.
No, it's not. It's fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks. One of those tricky little questions that sometimes crops up. Right now, what F is to quickly feel the body for concealed weapons or other... Yes, Richard?
Frisk.
Frisk is right. Yes, that's another one. A very equally balanced game so far. Now, where are you going to go? It's not terribly easy, is it?
I think a G, please.
G.
G.
G, OK. What G is the word which refers to the very bright stars which have a diameter 100 times bigger than the sun? Yes, Chris?
Giant.
Yes, just that. Giant. Well answered. He got it, which was very good indeed. I might tell you supergiants have a diameter 1,000 times bigger than the sun and are much brighter. Can you imagine the size? Let's not. Let's get on. Right, another letter.
D, please.
D. What D are the country houses or villas in Russia? Yes, Diane?
Dachas.
Yes, I'll give you that. Yes, well done. Dachas it is. Yep. In fact, the reason for the hesitation was some people call them Dachas, some call them Dachas. She got it right. And it's where Mikhail Gorbachev was spending a holiday when he was temporarily ousted in 1991. So that makes a situation like this on the board, and it gives you the choice, Diane.
Have an L, please, Bob.
An L, down at the bottom right. What L describes the battle you metaphorically fight in which defeat seems inevitable? Yes, Richard?
Lost.
No. Nope. Goes across to the other two. What L describes the battle you metaphorically fight in which defeat seems inevitable? Yes, Diane?
Losing.
It's known as a losing battle. Absolutely right, yes. You don't actually fight a lost battle, you fight a losing battle. So that makes a situation like this on the board. Well, yes, Diane?
Can I have an H, please, Bob?
OK. What H is a slang name for a large nose? Chris?
Honker.
No. No, it's not. Richard? What H is a slang name for a large nose?
Is it a hooter?
It's a hooter. You're right, yes. OK, now it's a flashing white light after all that. Not many letters left on the board, so which one do you want?
I'll have the Y then, please.
You'll have the Y. Well, I have to ask, you understand. Now, everybody, what Y is the country in which civil war broke out? That's Chris.
Yugoslavia.
Yes, it is. Yugoslavia. Well, we got to that stage, didn't we, where it had to be Blockbusters. No more letters could be won on that particular board, but enough were won in that game because Richard now has £25 and Diane and Chris have £100 each. What happens next? Stay with us and find out after the break. See you then. Welcome back, and before we go any further, I have an important announcement to make. The hat has finally arrived. Yes, I referred to it at the end of the last show, you might recall, and we've been waiting for that. What's more, it is an interchangeable hat, isn't it, Richard?
It certainly is.
Yes, it's got a
right.
different colour back. It looks very good indeed, and it hides the hair,
Thank you very much, Bill.
Yes, OK. Well, we are going to get on, of course, because we have to start the second game in the set of three in just a moment. Just to recap, it's Richard there with a hat, and of course it's Diane and Chris, that's in case you tuned in late, sitting there without hats, but waiting to play the game. OK, here we go. The D is flashing on the board. We go into this particular round with this question. What D are Scorch the Dragon, Nookie the Bear... Yes, Richard?
Dragons?
Sorry?
Dragons?
No, they're not. No. Diane and Chris, what D are Scorch the Dragon, Nookie the Bear and Orville the Duck? Yes, Chris?
Dummies.
They're dummies. Yes, of course they are. And life wouldn't be worth living if I didn't give their owners a mention. It's Ron Lucas, Roger De Courcy and Keith Harris, of course. Right, we have another letter, please.
S, please.
The S. What S is a type of waterproof hat named after Britain's prevailing wind? Yes, Chris.
Sou'wester.
Sou'wester it is. That's another blue. OK, 2 blues in a row, and your choice again, please.
N, please.
An N over on the left-hand side. Stand by, all three of you. What N describes the results of a diagnostic test? Yes, Richard?
I've no idea.
No, you interrupted a little bit early. Listen to the whole of this, Diane and Chris. What N describes the results of a diagnostic test which proves that the disease is not present? Yes, Diane?
Negative.
Negative is the right answer, correct? 3 blues, faced across the board. No whites as yet, so Richard's got to move very soon. Diane?
Can I have a tea, please, Bob?
A T, right. What T is the treatment of physical, mental or social disorders and diseases? Yes, Richard.
Therapy.
It is therapy. You're right. Well done. Bit of a relief, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have another letter.
I'd like an A, please.
An A.
Yeah.
Oh, right, OK. What A describes the defendant accused of the crime but found not guilty by the jury? Chris?
Acquitted.
Acquitted is correct. So, the choosing of the letter goes back to the double team.
M, please.
You've chosen an M to try and join those together, and here it is. What M sounds like a slang word for the hand, but is actually the German word for with, W-I-T-H. Yes, Diane?
Mitt.
Mitt, correct. Short one, a good one too. Now, a moment of truth for Richard, because he's got to move in there and stop them. He stopped them once on this particular run. They've got a flashing light, so you can see what will happen if he doesn't. Yes, Diane?
Has to be a B, please.
Has to be a B, right. What B, all three of you, is secreted by the liver and stored in the gallbladder? Yes, Richard?
Bile.
Bile is right. Now, and it's just one space on the board, but it's done an awful lot of good for our single player because it's meant the double team have a bit of an effort to get across there now. Richard, you have the next choice.
I'll go for an H, please.
Right down out of harm's way. What H is the name for the official report which documents all proceedings in the British Parliament? Yes, Diane?
Hansard.
Hansard is right. Well done, that's a blue. Now, you're back in the driving seat. Where next?
R, please.
OK, R it is. What R goes before Underwood, McGrath and Bremner for... Richard?
Rory.
Rory is right, yes. Just in case you don't know all three, it's for a rugby player, a satirist and an entertainer, respectively. Right, interesting situation. Now, where next?
I think I'll take the K, please.
OK. K, right down the bottom there. What K goes before on, up and out for a phrase used in... That's Diane.
Knock.
Yes, knock it is. Well done. Phrase used in rugby, tennis and boxing. Knock it was. Knock on, knock up and knock out. Right, where next, Diane?
G, please.
The G, to try and get that across the board. Let's see if you can, or whether Richard can do himself a lot of good. What G describes the disc presented when sales... That's Chris.
Gold.
When sales of the title have reached 100,000, it is a gold disc, and that's right. Well, that's a bit tough, particularly as Richard is a musician, a drummer, I think, aren't you, Richard? Yeah.
That's right, I knew
Give the
it.
band a mention, please.
Yeah, they're called the Honey Chain. And I'd also like to say hello to my friends as well, as who gave me this card.
Yes.
Good luck. Justin and Natalie.
I see.
And this is George as well.
Oh, right. Oh,
Named after George in the audience.
yeah, well, thank you very much. Yes, yes. Serves me right, really, by going back to him. But never mind. Richard, thank you very much.
Thank
You've
you
put
very
up a
much.
splendid fight.
Thanks for
You
enjoying
also
it.
get the sports shirt and the dictionary, don't forget.
Great.
And our good wishes for the future, okay?
Thank
Give
you
him a
very
big
much.
round of applause. Thank you, Richard. Well, he put up a splendid performance, but so did our double team. Wasn't that a good game? And it means they've got a second gold run to play, doesn't it? Yes. Yes. All right, Diane?
No.
I think it'll be Diane who's going next. It will be, won't it? Right. And we, as we always do, give you a look at the board. No exact words there, but they're all important words behind them. That's the board, and she's ready to go down. So for the second gold run, let's ask you, Diane, to put yourself on the hot spot, please. Roar of encouragement from the crowd. Diane, good luck to you. You've got a whole minute to get across that board. Gold to gold. So tell us where you want to start on the left, and we'll start our clock.
PC.
Political meetings often held in Brighton or Blackpool.
Party conference.
That's it.
FR.
Bones of the thorax not attached to the breastbone.
DH.
When two or more competitors cross the line exactly together.
Dead heat.
Yes.
HAC.
Mode of transport used by Steptoe and Son.
Horse and cart.
Yes.
JC.
Artist associated with Flatford Mill and the Haywain.
CB.
Defective vision involving reds, greens and yellows.
Colourblind.
Yes.
FB.
Music hall in Paris, famous for its dancers and showgirls.
BTH.
Formula for the area of a parallelogram.
Base times height.
That's it! That's Blockbusters! Well done! You've done it! Well done! What a good run! And here's your second gold run prize. Congratulations! Here it is.
Switzerland, yes, but being the outdoor type, this is going to be a real adventure for you, because you'll be tackling this beautiful terrain in a number of different ways, from windsurfing and riding to the exhilarating sport of whitewater rafting. Expert steersmen in rugged drafts and tried and tested equipment ensure it's perfectly safe. Then there are the mountains, and just a little higher up, the snow. So it's on with the skis. And if that isn't enough, we'll provide the rucksacks, you provide the foot power, and we'll all go a-wandering along the mountain track. And you'll find parts of Switzerland other travellers cannot reach.
Terrific. Very well done indeed. Well, you look pleased about that, both of you, and I think you are, don't you? You can look over at me, Diane. Yes, OK, very good. Right, you've got £140 each already, and you hope to go for your third, so retake your seat and we'll carry on. Give her a huge round of applause, she was very good. I think she was so stunned at getting that Swiss holiday, she forgot to look round. Let me just fill you in at home, because people always want to know what was there. The bones of the thorax not attached to the breastbone, they are, of course, the floating or false ribs. Across there, the artist associated with Flatford Mill and the Haywain, John Constable, of course. And right at the end, the music hall in Paris, famous for its dancers and showgirls. Well, no need to doubt that she didn't know what it was, of course. We know, don't we? It's the Folies Bergère. Yes, absolutely. Right, and already, while that's been going on, a figure has arrived in the single player's chair. And it's a lady, and I happen to know, though you don't yet, so I'll tell you that her name is Danielle Haas. A big round of applause. Danielle, welcome to the programme. Haas?
Haas.
Haas. I'll remember that. Haas. H-A-A-S.
Yes.
Sounds Scandinavian, is it?
No, it's Afrikaans.
Oh, is it? Afrikaans. Oh, Haas. OK. You come from the North London Collegiate, OK? And next to you, and greet them if you will, Diane and Chris, who are welcoming you to the programme. Now, an unenviable spot to come into the show when you're up against two people who are well settled, but it's happened before and it can happen again. The speed of the button counts. So, we get into the first game in the set of 3. The board is waiting, it's all changed over, ready to go, so let's play Blockbusters. OK, here we go. What, everybody, was the region of France from which Eleanor, Henry II's wife, came? Yes, Chris?
Ardennes.
No. Daniel, what if you know? What, was the region of France from which Eleanor, Henry II's wife, came?
Alsace-Lorraine?
No, it was Eleanor of Aquitaine. Aquitaine was her name. We have another one. What, can go into a fritter, dumpling, turnover? Yes, Diane?
Apple.
Apple, correct. Right, the Blues have made the start, right down at the bottom left-hand corner, and Diane has the choice.
Can I have an R, please, Bob?
Now, watch her awfully carefully, Diane, because once she gets going, she's awfully difficult to stop. What R is the basic unit of decimal currency adopted by South Africa in 19... My goodness me. Yes, they do come. What is it?
Rand.
The Rand. You're absolutely right, yes. We do have coincidences on this game, and that's one of them. The Rand, or Rand, as it's called, and you have the choice.
H, please.
H. What H means to sit close together, especially for... Diane got there first.
Huddle.
Huddle is right, yes. Huddle for one. The game speeds along. It's back to the Blues, a little conference, and Diane's picking what?
Can I have a G, please, Bob?
A G. Right, stand by for this, Danielle. What G goes before flesh, grass, step, and pimples? Diane.
Goose.
Goose, right. Well answered. That's goose flesh, goose grass, goose step, and goose pimples. So, 3 Blues, 1 white. Diane's choice again.
Can I have a J, please, Bob?
All right, a J. Now, all 3 of you, what J was the Old Testament character after whom a tree-like desert yucca plant... That's Chris.
Job.
No. Danielle, wonder if you can get this one. What J was the Old Testament character after whom a tree-like desert yucca plant is named?
Jonah?
No, it's known as a Joshua tree. Joshua. All 3 of you again. What J is the surname of the newspaper editor who became a radio presenter with his own breakfast? Danielle? It went from your mind. So it goes across to the other 2. What J is the surname of the newspaper editor who became a radio presenter with his own breakfast show? Yes, Chris?
Jackson.
Not Jackson, no. Derek Jameson will never forgive you. Jameson is. His breakfast show finished in December 1991 when he moved to a late-night slot. So, J it is again. What J goes before William and So for the titles... Yes, Danielle?
Just.
Just is right, yes. Just in case you didn't get the second half of that, titles of stories written for children by Richmond Crompton and Rudyard Kipling. Just So stories. All right, now, look at that. It's equalised. What are you going to have next, Diana?
P, please.
All right. What P is the far eastern country in which Mount Pinatubo erupts? Yes, Danielle?
Pakistan?
No. Diane and Chris, what P is the far eastern country in which Mount Pinatubo erupted in June 1991 after 600 years? Yes, Chris?
Philippines.
Just in time, just before the bell. Philippines it is. And with the game equally poised like that, it's time for us to leave you. We hope you'll join us next time round and see who gets onto the hotspot. For now, from all of us to all of you, thanks for joining us now. Join us then. Goodbye.
There's more Blockbuster tomorrow at the same time, and we've another game show God on the way next tonight. Bruce Forsyth's your host for Play Your Cards Right after the break on Challenge.